Testing. Testing. Oh, we wasn't even talking. Wow, my bad, y'all. Like I was saying, man, I ain't been on in a couple of days. Um, yeah, I had to finish school. I got some other projects I'm working on. Um, I'm still deciding if I want to make this like my number one thing I do. It's fun, but it's also tedious. It's also tedious too, though. Hmm. I was supposed to did this show last night. I was supposed to did this show last night, man, but I don't know. I was tired and I just didn't feel like it. Like I said, I am one of those people who, while I believe you should grind for what you want, um, I will never discourage a person from getting proper rest. Because I tell you what, if you tired and you don't feel good, it shows. I think that's what a lot of people seem to miss out on. Showing my horrible working man hands. I'm sorry, y'all. Them things is tore up. Uh, yeah, like I was saying, man. Yeah, get on your grind. You know, do your thing. Take care of your business. Handle you. But also uh, get your rest because there are a lot of people out here who will tell you that they don't they don't get tired and they don't go to sleep. I see less of it now than I used to. I think a lot of people caught on to the bullshit. Um, but I think a lot of people caught on to that are catching on. It's not it hasn't reached everybody, but I think people are starting to understand the current state of things here. Because people are putting in a lot of work, they're putting in a lot of effort, a lot of time, even some money, and they aren't getting the outcomes that um, they aren't getting the outcomes that were I don't want to say promised, but the outcomes that are suggested to happen if you do these things. And people are figuring out that whole messaging is kind of a racket to get you to put in maximum effort for other people because that's typically how they say it first is you have to grind your way from the bottom, which means we'll get you in here and you'll grind your way to the top. Now, if you're doing your own business, um, I think that's a little different. Um, you may have to work a little harder if that's your sole means of making money. But always get your rest. That's all I'm saying, man. Is as hard as you work, you should probably be resting about as hard as you working. Um, because if you don't have the energy, you don't have the focus, you won't have you probably won't have a lot of success. And I think that's what happens to a lot of people. They get under this illusion that if I don't if I take a rest, I'm gonna be behind. Um, I tell people all the time, like it's your work, so wherever you left it at is where it's gonna be. You can, you don't have to keep up with other people. That's what they call a trailblazer, somebody who forged their own path. They do things their way. But anyway, man, let's get into this show, man. I'm over here rambling, man. I'm a brother still waking up. I feel kind of bad because I was supposed to have did this last night and I didn't. So, um, if anybody comes to hang out with me, thank you. I do want to tell you this that for some reason this I'm not able to see my comments, even though I have them set up for me to see them. So when you say something and I don't answer you, it's not because I'm ignoring you. If I'm in the middle of the show and then nothing pops up where I can see it to address it, if I don't address it, I'm sorry. If I don't address it, it's because I didn't see it. I try to go back and answer uh, those comments when I go off of air, but I've done everything they've asked me to do in order to fix it, and it still doesn't work. So who knows? But before we get into the conversation that I know gonna piss people off, because I'm pretty sure certain people gonna hear this and it's not gonna be pleasing to the ears. Um, Before that though, we gonna just talk a little bit about where I left off the last show. Let's see here. Get my mug off of here. All right, so my last show I was talking about the fact that Jay Z had been accused of doing an R word to a minor, 13 years old, him and Diddy together, which in itself sounds like an amazing story, right? So here recently, I haven't been able to find the exact story that I want to share about it. Um, I haven't been able to find the exact story that I wanted to share about it, but um, the girl come back. It comes back that her story kind of shaky. I guess this is. I don't know what to say about that. It's so we have to just kind of see how things shake out. But what I did wanted to touch on just a bit before I got into the serious stuff is this little bit of bullshit here. Um, it said Jay Z's lawyers filed a motion claiming accuser's attorney pressured a client to link Sean Diddy Combs to unrelated case. So I'm trying to figure out. Okay, so I guess this is somebody trying to take two different instances, accusations, and link them as one. Um, I don't think it's a long read. Let's see here. Yeah, we're not gonna watch that video. Yeah, it's not a long read at all. So it says lawyers for Jay Z, aka Sean Carter, have filed an affidavit claiming that Tony Busby, the attorney who named Jay in the lawsuit, accusing him of R wording a 13-year-old. It's kind of bad that we can't say that word among adults. I don't know. We'll have to get into that later. In 2000, when Sean Diddy Combs tried to coerce an individual to link an unrelated sex trafficking case to Combs, uh, Carter's attorneys at Quinn Emanuel Urquhart, sorry if I murdered that, and Sullivan claimed that an anonymous woman contacted them yesterday to share her experience with the Busby law firm. She said that she had reached out to the firm in October regarding trafficking and abuse allegations unrelated to both Combs and Carter. The law firm allegedly asked her when she met Combs, despite her unrelated claims, and encouraged her to pursue her claims anonymously, which she did not wish to do. Busby's firm then pressed her to pursue a civil case anonymously, which she was uninterested in doing. She says when she brought up the idea of going to law enforcement, Busby's firm said it was not encouraged. Weeks went by without hearing from the firm, and then after finally speaking with one of the employees, that said she felt pressure to confirm false details according to the declaration. She felt directed and coached by Busby's firm to say that someone held her down and put drugs in her mouth when that was not her experience. She felt forced to lie. So it's already going to be an issue because it seems like they're asking this lady to do things that she is not willing to do. So that also brings into question whether if this lady has some kind of truth to one of these stories and somebody decided that, hey man, while we got this going, maybe we can enter this here and do this here and we can build this case up. It's a dirty game out here, and it's kind of going into my show a little bit about it, business as usual. This is some weird shit. Not only was it weird the fact that we had Sean Combs go to jail and the way that they raided his home and they really didn't find anything. They had to start talking about um baby oil. I'm still trying to figure out. I mean, maybe he had a couple of recreational drugs in there, but me personally, I don't really feel like if you're not selling that shit, I don't really feel like they should be messing with you about it. I feel like that's a matter of your body, your choice that they don't really like to address. But anyway, that's another show again that we'll get into later again. But then you looked at the fact that they locked Sean Combs up and they locked another guy up for the same kind of crimes. One guy get a bail. They've repeatedly denied Sean Combs bail. Now they're trying to get into Jay Z pocket. So when I say business as usual, the attacks on financially well off black men, they being held to a different standard again. People get mad when that's said out loud because it I don't know why they get mad. I can't even explain to you. You have to ask them why that bothers them for that to even be said or for somebody to even make sure that it's noticed. But what I will say though is they are giving Jay Z the benefit of the doubt because I believe that he's gotten in and gotten his feet planted and he's gotten some leverage there where people can't really push him around. While Puffy, on the other hand, he didn't take the same opportunity Jay Z took and went and worked with the people um, who kind of are against him right now. He was going at it with one of these alcohol moguls about some business things and him wanting to own his own name and all of that stuff. I believe. Um, but what we don't talk about is those Anheuser Busch and those Hennessy's and those Cirocs and all those. Those are owned by some really wealthy people who we don't talk about a lot because that would probably mean we have to start discussing their industry and the effects that their industry has on the general public, which may lead to some kind of crackdowns and stuff like that. So they kind of try to stay out the way and not have a lot to say and be seen by people. But he did get into a fight with one of them. I don't have that name either. I don't have any trouble admitting those kind of things. I'm not gonna make anything up. But he did have this back and forth, and I think he actually won the case. I believe. So once you poke that bear, uh, and you beat the bear's friends usually come back and find a way to neutralize you. So I wouldn't be surprised if we did it. We don't see him free at some point later on, in the same manner that Bill Cosby did. Kind of send you a message, we will lock you up, so watch yourself. Because I do believe he still has a lot of solid friendships within the industry and within the political circles. Just right now, everybody kind of quiet because everything that's falling in on them. So you see how fast Jay Z moved on that front. Good morning. I see you this morning. I had to turn on my phone this morning to be able to see my comments because they're not showing them to me on my program here. But good morning. I see you down there. Um, but like I was saying, I'm gonna finish this I'm gonna finish this little paragraph, and then we're gonna get ready to move on into some other stuff. I'll say this marks the latest heated back and forth between Carter and Busby, who added the mogul's name to a previously filed lawsuit on Sunday. In a fiery statement, Carter claimed that his lawyer sent blackmail surrounding the allegations from Busby to pressure him to settle out. His lawyer was sent blackmail, I'm sorry, surrounding the allegations from Busby to pressure him to settle out of court. He says that it had the opposite effect and instead incited him to expose the accuser for the fraud that they are in a very public. Okay, let's read that again. He says it had the opposite effect and instead incited him to expose the accuser for the fraud they are in a very public fashion. On Monday, Carter filed a motion to dismiss the suit and for the Jane Doe from the initial lawsuit to reveal her identity so he can properly defend himself against this false claim through the legal process in a transparent manner. Combs, meanwhile, has been imprisoned at the Metropolitan Detention Center in New York since September 16th on charges of racketeering and sex trafficking. Excuse me. He has been denied bail 3 times and will remain incarcerated until his trial on May 5th, 2025, when it could be determined that he could face life in prison. Okay, so much for um, that fair stuff that they talk about. Because I'm not understanding here, right? What I'm not understanding is if we have two people who are kind of accused too close to the same type of crime, um, why is one being held to a different standard? That's the only question that I have to ask for this. If the guy from Abercrombie and Fitch can get out and enjoy his life in freedom and on bail, um, what is the problem with Mr. Combs getting out and enjoying his life and seeing his kids for Christmas and holidays and all that? But like I said, it is business as usual. Um, the way that things are operating now, because I was laying in bed thinking about this last night, the way that racism has transformed, and it's the reason why people can say that racism isn't dead, because historically we were shown that racism was like in your face. I call you the N word. We all get together on a Sunday, and we get us a couple of N words, and we string them up. We keep people from eating at a table with us. They can't drink out our water fountain. You know, it's these visible things that were kind of in your face. So when that kind of went away, people could take the excuse of, well, it's not racist because it doesn't fall under any of these criteria. Even though you hear all type of discussion that leans toward bigotry, but and it does everything but use the N word and call for segregation and things like that. So it gives people plausible deniability to say, hey, man, that's not racist because I didn't call anybody the N word. I didn't say we shouldn't be here. I didn't say I felt like I was better than you. All I did was say this. You know what I'm saying? So um, you get a lot of that, right? You get that in these kind of cases. It's that kind of subtle thing, and they kind of get away with it because it's disguised as something else. That's why we can have a Sean Combs and whoever this guy is that owns Abercrombie and Fitch. And while we haven't seen any kind of real proof of what Sean Combs has did, but we see tons of proof of what this guy did, and one is still in jail and one isn't. So that's something that's noticeable, but it's not so blatant in your face that you could say with definitive reassurance that that is indeed racism. They will always be able to cover their backside and say that it isn't, and they're just going by some set of rules or something like that. So yeah, that's we gonna keep up with that, man. We gonna keep up with that if we can. We definitely gonna keep up with that. Let's see here. We definitely gonna keep up with that. But yeah, I got a couple other things that we're gonna talk about this morning. Let's see here. So you know, uh, this Daniel Perry character um, was acquitted here recently. I've kind of stayed away from these type of things over the last few years because I just would rather not, you know, be subjecting myself to these videos. I don't want to really want to hear the rhetoric that goes along with it because it's all nasty. Um, you had a guy who because I think about it as New York. You know, I don't know how many times I heard about crazy people being roaming free in New York and screaming and shitting in the subway and on a train, just doing all kind of wild stuff. But I think people typically understand that that person is just crazy and they probably aren't going to do much anything. There's also this understanding there are supposed to be transit cops around enough for you to be for them to be seen and for it to be a deterrent. Okay. So you have this guy who out his mind. They said he was smoking synthetic weed or whatever and whatever, right? Um this other guy, Penny, wasn't even man enough to like man up and just, in the man face and bump him off. He waited till the guy's back was turned and jumped on him and choked him out. So in a lot of instances, people would see something like this and be like, "Hey, yo, that was kind of dirty, G. You wait till that man back was turned and you choked him out." And not only that, we seen just in 2020 that kneeling on somebody's neck for 7 to 8 minutes is deadly. So he held a man in a chokehold for 6 minutes. So this man died. Now I'm gonna tell you what it is already. It's just they get they didn't win they didn't win how they wanted to win with the whole George Floyd thing. This is very, very similar, except for it's not a police officer, so this person couldn't be held to the same standard as a police officer. Okay, so being that they had already seen that verdict go the way it didn't go the way they wanted. This was an opportunity to correct that. Yeah, that's all this was an opportunity to correct that, and that's why they carrying this guy around on on their shoulders, and he should be ashamed of himself that they even celebrate him like that. Which is that's always funny to me, is that these people do this stuff. You kill somebody, you should be feeling some kind of humility in your soul because you really shouldn't be wanting, especially when you off people in the way that you did. You know what I'm saying? In the back, you jump on somebody's back and you choke them out. You kneel on somebody's neck, and then while they handcuffed and they couldn't do anything about it. Like, you don't go home at night and lose sleep over that. Matter of fact, you people hip hip hooray you and put you on their shoulders, and you running around like, yeah, I'm in celebration. He had to, but I saw the picture of this man at the bar, and he was visibly uncomfortable in that picture. But what he's not gonna do is say, "Hey, man, I don't want this type of attention." But at some point, like you seen with the kid from Wisconsin, there's gonna be a breakdown on his part because the way that he did what he did, it wasn't right. Just like that other kid, the way they say he protected himself and the way he did what he did, it wasn't right. And that was against two other white dudes. But like I said, if you not the type of person that they want you to be, then you disposable. They really don't like for you to say that, but all of their actions show you that. All of their conversations show you that. That if you don't fit certain criteria, then you disposable. It doesn't matter that you have mental health. It doesn't matter that you were unarmed. It doesn't matter that you were generally harmless. You wasn't doing anything. You only doing what crazy people do. And then you have other people who come and held his arms down while um this guy chokes him out, but those people don't go on trial at all either for assisting this man in whatever they calling it, because even the prosecutor said he was way out of line. So if he was way out of line, how is he walking away without any kind of charge? But like I said, it's business as usual. They had to get this win. They saw that this was wrong. A lot of people know this wrong. A lot of people who saying he a hero, if you had exchanged that person with somebody that they knew, that they know personally, that they suffer from that stuff, they would be upset about that. They wouldn't say he was a hero. But like I said, when you don't fit certain criteria, you are disposable. And it don't even mean just it is. It's not even just in the term of racist terms. It's racist terms. It's classist terms too. You know what I'm saying? Like you gotta know. Even when you see poor whites go through something, there is like um very little reaction to it. There are so many instances of just poor white people being done wrong. If there's a whole channel here on YouTube that I watch 2 or 3 times a week where all it is you see the police doing them wrong. And generally it be the same type of person that you usually see cheering the police on when they do something to other people. See, but with this is what's in the case of the police. So, like I said, there was a different standard. They could he don't have a he don't have something that he has to adhere to as a regular person. On top of that, he a veteran. But even other veterans heard about what he did and was like, yeah, like he knew he didn't need to do it that long, but he did. And like I said, these people be having taking opportunities to do things because they see it, but they don't really be thinking about the fact that that's going to put them in the spotlight. See, because the world is moving different now. Whereas when some of these people do stuff and they get away with it, like Darren, whatever that guy name is from Ferguson, and a couple of other ones that just kind of got off with doing stuff and kind of faded into obscurity. People mad all over about a lot of stuff. So you could become a pariah if you want to at this time, and you might risk you might risk something happening to you because people are at a point where they see the system isn't doing what the system is intended to do, and they have the thoughts of correcting that themselves. We just looked at that. We just looked at an instance of that this week with this Luigi character, and there's still fishy stuff about that. So even the system isn't even equipped to move in a way that puts people at ease. The system is equipped to make people put people more on edge, and that's all this stuff is gonna keep doing. Because if the system was equipped to put people at ease, people would be getting put at ease, and we wouldn't constantly be having all this traumatic shit being shown to us. But for some reason, somebody somewhere decides that this is a good thing because you know why? Because it keeps everybody on edge. It gives the French a big voice because everybody isn't racist, everybody isn't bigoted, everybody doesn't find this guy to be a hero, everybody doesn't see what he did to be right. Matter of fact, a majority of the people see it as he should at least got some type of punishment. It's a very small majority who feel like he is a hero. And then we got politicians becoming involved in this, like Ron DeSantis. But we already know Ron DeSantis is like a wild dude. He tried to implement a lot of hateful ass shit. This is something that's up somebody like Ron DeSantis' alley because it reinforces shit for him. It gives him a alley to spit his bullshit because he gets to be, as he a minority voice, because we already told him what we want from him, we didn't want from him. Again, like I said before, people who we have thoroughly rejected somehow make it back to the front again with their bullshit. And we have that's the main problem that we have here is we have this circle of people who keep getting a chance to bring their bullshit to the table. That's it. The shit is crazy. Well, cause I'm just sitting here thinking about it. Like for real. I don't know how many people I've seen that I thought should be gone and doing something else that are back in the spotlight again. They won't even let anybody new in the circle. They'll let us crash and burn before they let people with new ideas, fresh ideas that's different than theirs in the circle. That's how come we gonna keep getting this same group of losers. Cause that's what it is. They lose. And if they keep losing, they find a way to cheat to win. These people don't even win the right way. It's that's something that I don't be really hearing anybody talk about. There's probably people talking about it, but I don't hear anybody talk about the fact that we can't get anybody new in the door. And then if we do get somebody new in the door, they have to come through these people. He getting tried in New York by the same people that they had a problem with when it came to Donald Trump, but they cool in this instance. Well, I guess they did have a problem with him because they charged him. Like I said, that vocal minority again, old people of a certain hue, and the ones my age, because the younger they get, the less aggressive they are with that shit. You start dealing with that shit when you start getting into them people in the high 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, and the older they get, the worse it be. But a lot of them people are still kicking. A lot of those people are still mad because they ain't get what they were supposed to get or what they were promised. Because you work hard, or you do all these things, and you're supposed to be successful. And then they see other people that don't look like them, that they don't feel like work like them or do what they do, be successful, and they don't be knowing what the hell these people doing. You know what I'm saying? Like, I get told as a black man all the time that my people lazy, but all I see is people around me who work hard as hell. I don't really know anybody because we don't allow that shit. You know what I'm saying? We don't allow that shit. And the small amount of us that decide that they want to be like on the teat of the government, that number is really small. It gets magnified, but a lot of us don't be with that shit because a lot of us are secretive people. And that means we got to give you all our information and let you know what we doing. That's why a lot of the times the mistakes are made about us because a lot of us don't we ain't trying to put out there all what we doing. You know what I'm saying? We don't even do stuff like the census because people still think we 13% of the nation. We've been 13% of the nation for how many years? Are you serious? Even with them talking about we got the baby canceling numbers that we do, we still got a lot of kids. They still talk about us as having the most kids. You see, this is stuff I'm talking about. They be hedging both sides of the bush. You know what I'm saying? We we baby making machines, but at the same time we off the most. You know what I'm saying? This stuff don't be adding up. You know what I'm saying? None of these numbers that they be giving me, none of the numbers that they give me add up. Oh my God, my stuff showing again. I gotta get my. I'm gonna go back to my damn curtain because this chair apparatus is a pain in my ass, man. It is. It is really a pain in the butt. Okay. Yeah, but like I said, until we stop getting these same group of jokers um, in front of us and making rules, like if we could tell, if we told Kamala Harris no, the way we told Kamala Harris no, she has no business telling us that she'll be back in 2028. But we all know who we gonna see in 2028. This is wild stuff to think about. When you think about it, if you are of age, I'm 46. I want you to tell me the number of new people that you know that have walked into the government and made a difference. We didn't start getting people who was outside the normal circle until like 2017 with AOC and them, and then like the gates are closed again. They let a couple of people in, and there was people that they could control, and then they closed the gates again. This is how we end up with people who are 90 in Congress. Why is Maxine Waters in Congress again? Why is she being elected again? Who's voting for this lady? She like 90, almost 90, 80 something. She too old to be there. I don't understand it. Who is voting? Who which it can't be that many people her age left. But I guess it is. And I think what they really trying to do is they really trying to hold off this young crowd for as long as they can, because they know once they let this young crowd get in and get a hold of this shit, they're gonna break it up. Because we can't have any, we can't see our success is being stifled because they don't want to get out the way. It's like, okay, you've been making money since you've been 35, man. You 90. It's time to you got enough. You've done enough. They gonna man, these kids gonna break this shit up. Groups like APAC in their days of snatching young black kids off the street and molded them in a way that if they go to office, um, they don't really want to do anything for black people, but they will do everything they can for the people that APAC represents. All that shit gonna fall. All that we just seen the video. The video was damning. I tell you what, ain't none of these mainstream news people touch that video because they can't show that video to people. It would piss people off. But of course, it would be the asemitic word because you know why? Because it's an explosion. It's an exposing. You're not supposed to do that. But I'm telling you, a lot of this shit, these old people been carrying on with for a long time and using it and misusing it to make money and to keep people under a certain type of control. That shit gonna go. That shit gonna go away. That shit gonna go away, man. It's gonna go away. It's cause that's why you get all this panic stuff and this weird stuff and them trying to fix stuff so you know it'll be messed up and it'll be so messed up that it'll be hard to fix. 'Cause that's what they doing, man. That's what these people are evil. You see what Joe Biden doing? I'm gonna talk about something that he did in a minute. That he just did that was foul as shit. Because these people know that their time is about at an end, and that um their legacies are really at stake here because it's the things aren't going in the way that they thought they would. People aren't responding in the way that they typically respond to things. And they done they done put themselves in such a bubble that they so out of touch they don't even know what to do. You can see that with this election. See, on the right, it's still a bunch of those old timey people who still adhere to that shit, and they eat it up. And I don't really think the Republican Party is a party full of young people. The Democrat Party, however, they have these ideals that are attractive to young people, so they are a party that's full of young people that got old people who probably should be over there working with the Republicans and aren't. See, but that's the thing. They got these kids in school, and then they didn't teach these kids how to organize. That's why they can't organize. That's why they do school like they do. So when you get out into the world, you don't got no way of organizing. If they really wanted people to get along, that's where you would start at early in life, which it probably starts in elementary that they teach you how to get along just good enough to not get called out for being some kind of weirdo or a bigot or one of the many things that you can end up being. Oh my God, this every show this shit. Damn. So they really kind of handicap these kids. The left say they want a Joe Rogan. They don't want that because if they give somebody like that that's influential and that person has a message to these kids that yeah we need to move these people out the way, they cooked. This is what I'll be talking about. They don't even know what to do. Anyway, man. Let's see here. So you got this guy who basically got away with murder today the other day. Now my question is he gonna get to move around without being harassed? Because the other kid, I don't think he was able to do too much without if it wasn't like if it wasn't Republican sponsored, like he couldn't do anything. And I think he started to break down because he couldn't make any money. Because why they give you the illusion that most people thought that man was a hero, a lot of people was looking at him like why were you even there? Why were you there at 16 with what you had? And then it just shows your character. But that says a lot about some of these people on the right. Their character is hit. Some of these politicians like Ron DeSantis don't their character is hit. He raised 2 million for this man. Why is he getting involved in that in Florida? That don't even have anything to do with him, but he see what it is, and that's stuff that he is into. You know why? Because he a goof, and he not smart enough to appeal to people with sense. He don't know because they already told him they don't want him around. They laughed him out the room. So of course he gonna go with the Neanderthals. And then he tried to say he wanted to take his Neanderthal program nationwide, and again he was thoroughly rejected. So he where he need to be. They didn't even respect him enough to help his state out during a natural disaster, and still haven't. You think he made a case about that against these people? No, he right in their pocket. He cool. He ain't worried about nothing, but his people still out there suffering. But he raising $2 million for this Penny character in New York, and he got all these people here in Florida that still sleeping in tents, don't got their house back, done lost everything, still not getting paid. But he raising $2 million for Daniel Penny, or at least his name is being attached to it. He don't even make no more noise about his people not getting no help. Y'all notice that? He trying to be in Trump pocket. And you know what's gonna happen? He gonna get elected somewhere again because he doing exactly what's needed to be done. And then the people are so enamored with other shit. They so worried about black on black crime and other shit like that that they don't even see that the person that they keep voting for because he keep tickling this one fancy of yours is like messing you over everywhere else. I don't even know how this whole natural disaster thing that happened in Florida didn't wake them up to who they dealing with. Maybe it did, and that's why they don't get talked about. They don't get interviewed because they don't have the opinion that the mainstream media needs them to have in order for them to make it on TV. It, Ron DeSantis ain't alone. He just on the program. You see how they did Hawaii. Like I said, it's been business as usual. These people are evil. They don't give a damn. As long as they win, that's all they care about. And when they lose, they don't. They seethe and they think of ways to correct that loss. And it's gonna be at your detriment as just a regular general citizen. Okay, so I'm gonna just play this video. Cause see, this is why I don't get into this stuff. Cause this stuff get on my nerves because it's so ignorant and it's like it's so blatant as to what it is, and it's like people play these stupid ass roles, man, and it's just I don't know, man. Why is my stuff doing this now? Having some damn lighting issues again. Y'all gotta excuse me, man. Where is my sound at?
Great. He's finally got the justice he's deserved.
Surprised?
Sorry?
Were you surprised?
No, we think that this should have happened probably on day one, but the point thing is it happened. So we can't control the timing of it, but we can certainly say
I can't control the
outcome.
timing
Well,
of
he's
it.
not guilty on a few different reasons. Because his actions were justified. He was trying to help people on that train, and he did. And number two, he's not responsible for the death because the death was caused by a lot of other factors that we tried to present with a lot of clarity, such as the K2 abuse and the sickling crisis, and cardiac issues. Not to mention the paranoid schizophrenia, which only added to that impact. So I'm just glad that the jury was able to truly evaluate that as a potential cause of death, and that Danny was justified in the actions that he took.
And see what I mean? You see how he slid that in there real slick? Potential. So they don't even know if that was the cause of death, but it was enough for them to let him off. Again, like I said, you see how close this is to the George Floyd thing? Oh, it was his K2 and he had cardiac and it was this, so it could have been that. It could have been that. We don't know, but it could have been. So that was enough for us to say he was justified. Again, this man didn't have a gun. This man hadn't even touched anybody. So who was he who was he helping? And then once he felt that man go limp, he could have let that man go and he didn't. When I heard it, they said it's 45 seconds, you'll be out. So he didn't even need to hold it more than a minute, but he did. So but I heard the family is doing a civil lawsuit, and he'll probably lose that. And I hope they take everything he gets, and anything that he gets, I hope they take it. Be the way they did OJ. So yeah, you could be free, but you can't have shit. I couldn't be Daniel Penny's family. I mean, I couldn't be the Neil Lee's family member. Couldn't be me because he had to move out of New York. I'll be forever on the hunt for that man. No doubt. I don't care nothing about saying it. If that was my people, Lord forbid it never happens to one of my people, he would have to leave Earth. He or she would have to leave Earth because either you're going to have to outrun me till my time expires because your ass is mine. And they wouldn't put me on TV because that would be my message. Well, my message to him is your ass is mine. You better move. I don't care who around me and who get mad and send me whatever. Ain't nobody, not even God, gonna be able to keep me off your head, sir. So the only way they would be able to save somebody from me was to put me in the cage. Now, why you gonna put me in the cage, but you didn't put him in there? See how that works? You know what I'm saying? But a lot of these people are very, very wary and fearful of the justice system because they got a lot to lose. They got kids, grandkids, all that stuff, you know. So they don't have time to be reactive in that manner. And then I think a lot of times they be thinking they trying to keep some trouble down by being um, forgiving as they are. I haven't heard this family say that though. They actually going to sue this man again. So I don't know, but I know the reaction to this um, wasn't as strong as George Floyd, and I think a lot of times too, that be one of their aims too, is to upset us as a group. But what they are failing to realize is we are talking amongst ourselves about these things, and we are coming to the conclusion that y'all can have it. Keep doing it. At some point, you're gonna burn yourself out with everybody. Then what you gonna do? Also, number two, they running out of us to mess with, so they starting to mess with you. You just wait. I just seen a lady the other day get stopped by two officers on the side of the highway. She was clearly abused and intoxicated and shouldn't have been there. And you know what they did? They drove off. And you know what happened to her? She got ran over by an 18 wheeler 15 minutes later. She asked those people for a ride 2 miles up the road to a gas station. And both of those officers told her no. That's the same system that acquitted Mr. Penny. That's how it operates. It does not have anybody but themselves in mind. Them lawyers, they don't care nothing about getting that man off. That's a notch on their belt. I won this big case. That's why when you see them talk, they don't even sound like they believe the shit they say. They don't even believe the shit they tell themselves or they tell other people, but they know there's a gullible crowd that's gonna listen. And like I said, the vocal minority, the ones who set the tone. So one of the last little things, last few things I'm gonna move into tonight or this morning. Your boy Joe Biden, man. Joe Biden is going out bad. How anybody hasn't done anything about this man to this point, like the way he moving before he get out of office, it's like he doing everything in his power to spite anybody who didn't vote for him. Now I read he did like 1,500 pardons, but one in particular is getting people up at arms. Now, if y'all remember some years back, there was a judge, and I think he was in Pennsylvania, that was sending kids to juvenile because he was being paid something like per kid or something. We're gonna read about it here in a minute, and I'm pretty sure it's gonna clarify it. That's who Joe Biden just pardoned. So all those parents, black parents, Democrats in Pennsylvania, where I think they lost Pennsylvania, he freed that judge. Now, mind you, a lot of poor whites, a lot of black people voted for these people, and because they didn't win, this is what he doing. Oh, y'all didn't vote for me? Well, I'm gonna let this dude out since I know he affected y'all directly. Like I said, business as usual when it come to us. Damn gnat. Why do we have gnats in December? What the hell? Um, I don't know. Let's look. Let's look at this. Let's look at this. The title: Victims shocked after Biden grants clemency to Kids for Cash judge and $54 million embezzler. Look at that face. Let's get this off of here. Look at that face. Do y'all think that's him making these moves, or do y'all think that's the bitter people around him doing this? Victims of major public corruption cases in Pennsylvania and Illinois are angry that President Joe Biden granted clemency this week to two convicted officials. I was under understanding it was one, so apparently he let both of the main characters out. The commutations were announced Thursday as a part of a historic clemency package for 1,500 convicted criminals who, the White House said, deserve a second chance. The two convicted officials whose cases sparked outrage, a crooked Pennsylvania judge and a notorious Illinois fraudster, of course, because they, never mind. Both had already been released from prison early and put on house arrest during the COVID-19 pandemic. Biden's actions now end that punishment. So first off, why was they even out of jail? They not supposed to be out of. See, this is what I'm talking about. When you in that circle, like these two in that circle, see, they had quietly let these two shysters out. They don't. This is the stuff I'll be getting into discussions with the other side about. Y'all will talk about all of the crime that people do that look like me. But I tell you this, they let a whole lot of people who don't look like me off real easy. This is why I just told somebody the other morning that you can't rely on percentages in some of this stuff because they cook the books. So now we got two people who were supposed to be in jail for a long time sitting at home with their money. The president has already faced bipartisan criticism over his highly controversial pardon of his son, Hunter Biden, who was convicted earlier this year of 12 tax and gun crimes. Tax and gun crimes. Both where nobody who gets convicted of that shit gets off, man. A Biden administration official told CNN the latest communications were not individual decisions and insisted it was a uniform decision granted to people who met certain criteria, like having a track record of good behavior while on house arrest. Seriously. You see how they be having these wild ass excuses for themselves, man? These ain't excuses they would use for anybody. Now, just think. R. Kelly been being good in jail for the last, 4 or 5 years that he been in there, and they had let him out and said he was. You think they would have had a track record of good behavior while on house arrest? Why are these people on house arrest? How do you sell people to jail, to prison, ruin their life, their record? And then you get to go and serve while they go to jail, they don't get home arrest. They don't get house arrest. You do all this and you get to go home and do yours. Come on, man. Come on. Say got it absolutely wrong. Former Pennsylvania Judge Michael Conahan was convicted in 2011 in what was infamously called Kids for Cash scandal, where he took kickbacks for nonprofit detention centers in exchange for wrongly sending juveniles to their facilities. You already know who it affected. The case was widely considered to be one of the worst judicial scandals in Pennsylvania history. Like all the other nearly 1,500 people who got commutations from Biden this week, Cunningham was freed from prison due to COVID. His house arrest was set to end in 2026. The misconduct of Cunningham and other Luzerne County judge and another Luzerne County judge led the Pennsylvania Supreme Court to throw out 4,000 juvenile convictions, and discredited state judges were offered to pay $200 million to the victims. Sandy Fonzo, the mother of Edward Kinzakowski, who died by suicide after spending time behind bars as part of the kickback scheme, said she was shocked and hurt after learning of Biden's decision to commute the rest of Conahan's punishment. Conahan's actions destroy families, including mine, and my son's death is a tragic reminder of consequences of his abusive power, Fonzo told the Citizen's Voice, a local outlet. This pardon feels like an injustice for all of us who still suffer. Right now, I am processing and doing the best I can to cope with the pain that this has brought back. Pennsylvania Governor Josh Shapiro, a Democrat, also said Friday at an unrelated news conference in Biden's hometown of Scranton that I do feel strongly that President Biden got it absolutely wrong and created a lot of pain here in northern Pennsylvania. So, like I said, this dude ended up winning. Not only did he get paid, which he probably got paid more than the $54 million that they were able to recover. He got away with this small fine of $200 million that he probably won't never ever finish paying people. He didn't serve all his time in jail. He was supposed to serve all that time in jail. He been at home for the last 4 years, and then he get off free. Where's the punishment in that? There was a similar fallout in Illinois after Biden gave clemency to Rita Crudwell, another comptroller of Dixon, a city of roughly 1,500 in the northern part of the state. She pleaded guilty in 2012 to a $54 million embezzlement scheme, which believed to be the largest municipal for all the U.S. history. She was sentenced to almost 20 years in prison, nearly the maximum, though she was moved to house arrest during the pandemic. She was supposed to be on house arrest until 2028, according to the Bureau of Prisons. When I heard the news, I was completely shocked in disbelief. I was outraged and felt complete sense of betrayal from the federal justice system, the White House, and the president. Dixon City manager Danny Langloss told CNN in an interview on Friday. Langloss, who said he doesn't affiliate with a political party, was the police chief when Crudwell's fraud was uncovered. He said he believes justice wasn't served here. I don't like the idea that with several more years of her sentence to complete, she gets to walk free in a community that she betrayed and stole from. Like I said, man, the longer I hear, the more, not the longer, but the more I hear about stuff that came from this pandemic and how unserious some of this shit was, I'm thinking all of this was just put in motion so they can do a lot of this shit. They get their friends and kids out. They can be at home, all this stuff, man, because it would not surprise me in the least bit that these people would make decisions based on 4 or 5 people that they know, and the rest of us have to live with it. We see Joe Biden doing it now. So who's to say that he hadn't been doing this shit for the long haul? Why you think people don't have $15 as a minimum wage at this point? Because 2 or 3 people he know that own industry didn't want it. They didn't want to pay the people. They want to pay them what they want to pay them. All right, here's the last paragraph. Margaret Love, who served in the Justice Department as the U.S. pardon attorney from 1990 to 97, said the fallout from Biden's latest commutations was a consequence of how the prison population was reduced during COVID after the Trump administration. Here they go trying to throw him in it. Congress bypassed the Bipartisan CARES Act in March 2020 at the beginning of the pandemic, which, among other things, paved the way for the federal government to move about 12,000 inmates from federal prisons into home confinement. Many of these people have since completed their sentences, though plenty remain on house arrest. Many people who were sent home were convicted of white collar or non-violent offenses and were considered safe bets to behave in the community, Love said, adding that she believed the decision making was tainted by racial discrimination. Because, of course, you know it wasn't many of us that got out. Like I said, it was a lot of they fucking cronies that got out, big and small. White collar criminals all running the same damn circles. They are aware of all the big dogs and often work for the big dogs. 12,000. That's not a lot of people. It sounds like a lot of people, but in the grand scheme, you need to tell me you could only find 12,000 criminals that displayed these good behaviors that were white collar criminals. Come on, man. See, this is what I'm talking about. But then I say business as usual, bro. And when I tell you they practice racism in a different it's a different mechanism than what most people are aware of or they are used to. With grumblings among some Republicans about sending these convicts back to prison, Love said Biden simply cleaned out this population and took that option off the table. And those upset that Biden let these criminals out of the house arrest early, you should have complained 4 years ago when they were released from prison, Love said. And like I said, I pay a lot of attention to this stuff, and I hadn't even heard about it. They did that very quietly. And it was during a time when it was so much other stuff going on that may have seemed more important. This is why it was done the way it was done. See, you have the way that they operate is they'll make a move that's going to free a certain set of people, but they'll throw a few stragglers in to make it look good. But it's really done to get this small set of people out because they couldn't just go say these people are free because they were good and everybody else stay home. No. But all kind of stuff about these people are starting to come out. Every time they make a move, we learn something new. So you got to appreciate that, man. You got to appreciate it. Well, yeah, man. I don't think I'm I think I'm what I got up here. Yeah, I think that's enough for my morning show. I didn't want to stay on too long this morning. I got some things to do. I'm just in celebration because I am out of class until January. Holidays coming up. Um, I got painting in here to do. I work outside, even though it's like below whatever it feels like it. It's cold as hell. It's supposed to be 35 today, so it'll be bearable. So I'll get out here and shake some things up. Shout out to anybody who came in and showed me some love for a few minutes, because every minute counts. Anybody who hit that like button, if you choose to subscribe, I appreciate that too. I know how these things go. A lot of people just kind of listen to this stuff and fleeting, and they don't think about any following you or anything, because yeah, it's just the nature of this. But I just kind of wanted to get in here this morning and talk about a few things. I didn't want to go for no long time. Like I said, trying not to fall into that complacency area where you kind of cool with just kind of chilling and not doing what you intend to do. So With that being said, man, enjoy your day. Mm, get out, see some things, hug somebody you love, call that person you haven't talked to in a while, mend some bridges if it's possible. We getting into times where having a close and firm circle is going to be very important because you're going to get plenty of attacks from um, the rich guys in the room. They're kind of scared right now. Things aren't going the way they want them to go. So they've hit the panic button, which means they're going to try to rain down some craziness on us, try to reel us back in, get us together. I honestly think it's too late for that. But like I said, man, find some people that you love and trust. It's possible. Don't think that it's not possible. They are out there. They're probably around you already. You just don't know it. And build with that. And with that being said, I want everybody to